In the next few minutes, I will present you my poster presentation concerning the implementation of the European Clinical Trial Regulation in daily practice. I conducted a study in view of my master thesis at the University of Leuven, for which I did an internship at Vanherle. The purpose of this study was to analyze and discuss the most significant changes in the field of clinical trials by the implementation of the Clinical Trial Regulation. The regulation is set to replace the Clinical Trial Directive and becomes applicable once the full functionality of the Clinical Trials Information System is confirmed. Although the aim of the regulation is to provide a greater level of harmonization in the European Union, provide more transparency and avoid national interpretation, this study argues that the implementation of the regulation will have an impact on ethics commissions, national competent authorities, and the pharmaceutical industry. And important to know is that the description of the CTA process of the directive is focused only on Belgium. There are various changes to the conduct of clinical trials introduced by the Clinical Trial Regulation, ranging from differences in timelines for obtaining a CTA authorization to stricter notification or translation requirements. The timelines are shown in Figure 1 for initial clinical trial authorizations and in Figure 3 for substantial amendments. And this difference in timelines can potentially have a negative impact for fast-approving countries under the directive, such as Belgium. Then, regarding the requirements for the application dossier, the study has demonstrated similarities as well as differences, as is indicated in Table 1. However, the regulation does specify in much more detail what needs to be included in the required documents. Since there will be one single submission for multi-country clinical trials with a joint assessment by the National Competent Authority and Ethics Commission, the way of working of these two stakeholders will be affected by the implementation of the regulation. For example, they need to set up the assessment reports, which will be a time-consuming task. The regulation will also have an impact on the pharmaceutical industry across the different departments. They need to deal with intense startup periods and additional workload due to the stricter notification requirements and shorter timelines to provide additional information. And all stakeholders involved will have to adapt their quality systems and standard operating procedures to comply with the new requirements of the clinical trial regulation. And based on the most important key changes set out in the conclusion of the poster, it is highly recommended for all stakeholders involved in clinical trials to prepare for the transition from the Clinical Trial Directive to the regulation by using CTR pilot projects, VHP and VHP Plus as a learning by doing tool. Thank you for listening to my video presentation, and I hope my analysis of the impact of the CTR as presented in my poster will provide some insights for you. Thanks.